Okay, today's presentation is going to be about how to set the volleyball nets up, and there's just a few short things you got to know about. Get this done in about 5 minutes, really pretty simple. However, I'm going to start with the lights because that's going to be pretty critical for you people that don't know how to turn the lights on the gym. Now the lights are on, so you won't see them coming on because it's hard to tape in the dark, but I'll show you right now how to flip the light switches on, because it's kind of hard to do. Alright, okay, to turn the light switches on, I'm going to show you where this where it is. It's basically right here next to the gym door. It's right here. Put this camera down for a minute and zoom in a little bit. Alright, now you can see, this is what you're going to see when you walk up to it, only it's going to be dark, so sometimes you have to do this by sense of feel. First, grab this chain. You see this chain right here? It's got this lock on it for some strange reason, and then it's got this little piece that looks like a fork. Alright? That fork is what you use to turn the lights on and off. Basically, this little fork is a slotted instrument that goes inside these slotted switches and is used to turn it on. Put it in here like so, and then basically you flip it up. And you do the reverse to turn the gym lights off. Got it? And I usually just leave them out because I'm going to turn them off later in the night anyway. So be aware, most people don't know how to turn those things on and off. And then just above it, you'll see the fan switches. Up has the fans go on, down has them turned off. They're actually on right now, so I'm going to leave them the way they are. Okay, the next thing is to put the posts up. Now the posts go into two sections on opposite sides of center court. You'll see right here is one of them. And as I pan over to the other side, there's one over on the other side too. Okay, we flip the covers up, and then we put the poles in. And by the way, the pole with the reel always goes on the far side of the gym by the big Viking sign over there, and you'll see what I mean in a minute. Okay, now we're going to flip up the post cover here, and wouldn't you know, I actually have with me some WD-40, so we're going to do two things. Flip it up first, like this. Use a key, just, you know, really couldn't be easier. I actually happen to have some WD-40. I like to spray a little bit of that in there so it's easy to get out. Alright, you don't have to do this every time, but it's not a bad idea. Is to put the posts up. I always start with the far side post. Where could they be? Where they're in Mrs. Corning's office area here. Let's go on in there and check it out. Well, the light's turned on now, so I'm going to go in here, and here they are hanging on the side of the wall. I just grab them, bring them out. I always do the reel side first, and by reel you'll see that there's a crank on one of these. You can see the crank mechanism right here, and that's the one I put up first usually. And a lot of times to transport it, it's good to have this mechanism here down so the slide here doesn't slip as I'm carrying the post around. Here comes the post. Put it right here. Easy does it. It's not going to go perfectly in right away, but then it slides in, clicks in, and everybody's happy. Again, look how the crank post is up against the east wall. Alright, that's the crank, and that's the east wall. Okay, I flipped the plate up on this other side just like before. The key does fine. Flip it up, off on the side, WD-40, squirt it in. Everybody's happy. Okay, here comes the other post. Could be easier. Get it right in there and let her slide in. There we go. Now real quickly on these uprights, there's two parts that the net attaches to, so you kind of want to know where that is. Basically it's right here, that pin. You pull the pin out, and then there's another one at the top right there. Pull those pins out and get ready to set the net. I think I'll pull it out now. Top pin, it doesn't hurt to be 6'10", but most of us aren't, so we go on our tiptoes and just pull it out. Next major decision point is which net to hang, and I'm going to tell you, we have a game net and a practice net. The game net's this wonderful net right here. It's hung on the reel that has a flat bottom. Here's the flat bottom right there. There's the net. It's a wonderful net. Kevlar stitching. Here's our practice net. The bottom of the reel has tubes. Alright, see? And also there's black ropes hanging off of that. That's our practice net. They both basically hang the same way, and since I'm setting this net up for practice tomorrow, I'm going to hang the practice net, and we're not going to worry about the game net, because most of the time that's going to be set for you. Someone like me who loves a perfectly trimmed net is going to come over here before games and set that up. So most of the time you'll be setting up the practice net. I usually like to set the net up first on the west wall side, and we always use the permanent cable, the one that I didn't have to set myself, because it just snaps right in and off you go. That's this one right here. You can see the other one on the floor right there. You can see that it's manufactured that way, and there was nothing anyone had to do to modify the length of that cable. Use this side always against the west wall, and we're going to put that right up here in just a minute. Okay, hanging the net couldn't be simpler. Take the net over here, get yourself just a little bit of slack net, take the loop in the cable, put it in the inside of the slot, take the pin, and get that pin all the way through, alright? It's got to be all the way through. And once you do that side, you turn around and do that same thing right here. Now I got the net firmly in place on this side. Now comes the fun part, because we basically unwind the net, and of course there's all sorts of tangles and turmoil that we get, but basically it's pretty simple. Basically what you do is just get in front of it, push it along, it'll unwind itself basically. Okay, the next thing is to hang this side of the net. Basically pull this out, twist this around a few times. You want this piece all the way down, maybe about 2 feet down, so you can hang it easy. Keep going. This should be probably just about good enough. And also you want this thing nice and flush against this part here. You don't want it crinkled up or anything. Now you grab the net. This is that part I was talking about. Put it in and click it in just like that. Okay, here's the fun part. We crank up the net now. Turn it around this way. You can see the net's going up. Keep going. Make sure this goes on straight right here. Keep going. I have this nicely trimmed so you don't have to get too worried. You'll know when it's nice and tight. Quite tell, but when you tighten up this net, the very top of the net will cease to sag. As you see it sagging right now, we're going to finish tightening it, and you'll see it tighten up and become kind of linear across the top. And when you get it nice and tight, you know that it's tight enough. Okay, the last critical step is to secure the bottom thing. You know, you don't generally need to take this pin out. All you do is you just kind of loosen this like that. and then hook it, and then cinch it. Not too tight yet. Okay, I'll tell you why in just a minute. Okay, we're just about ready to trim this net. It's properly hung, but now it has to be put on there accurately and secured so it doesn't slip. A lot of people ask, where did this edge go in proximity to the yellow line here? And the answer is, it goes just on the outside in equal portions on each side of the net. So that net should be out about a foot, this net should be out about a foot, and then basically you go back and forth and estimate it, and then you secure one side. Now the game net uses Velcro, but the practice net uses these black straps. And again, you don't want to tighten it too hard now, because you're going to be kind of tweaking it on the other side of the net to make sure that it sticks out in equal proportion. So I just like to kind of loosen this, leave this kind of loose. And by the way, I'm going to loosen up just a little bit. And then we go to the other side of the net and secure that side too. On the other side of the net, and I see that it's just sticking out over this yellow line about in the equal distance that it is on the other side. So now I'm going to secure the black lines. Now I've secured these black lines, still a little bit tighter than the other side. All right, but not totally tight, because I'm going to go back to the other side and secure it so I don't get too radical on this side. Okay, so you see I tightened this on this side. It's not too tight, and this is loose yet. I just want to explain something. This is one of those ratchet tighteners. See it right here? Okay, the way this works is I pull on it and it tightens up. All right? Now look, I like to tighten it really tight, but sometimes I tighten it so tight that it's hard to get off. There's a little button here, right here. Push this way, and then it'll release, and then you can tighten it. That's a trick. A lot of people don't know that. Now that the black lines are secure on the other side, I'm ready to secure this nice and tight on this side, because there's nothing worse about a flimsy net that's not tight. So I put a little meat into it and get it nice and tight. Now you see this is tight, but now this is loose. So now I'm going to come back and tighten the black lines again, and that's the final step. It's really tight, and we're pretty much done. And I'm going to show you something here. This is what we call a well-hung net. It's tight. People are going to come up and slam on it. It's not going to be, it's not going to let dinks over. You really got to hit it to, to make it go over. So you do a quick test. The test I like to do is the old slap test. You go to the middle and try it with your hands. Because if you're a middle hitter, you want to be coming up here, actually you're going to do that with the ball, but otherwise they'll call you in the net. But if it takes that kind of abuse and there's that much it's that tightened, then you know you did a good job. One last thing, and it's a safety thing, we put up the pads. Okay, the pads are pretty simple. These are the pads. Velcro strip. Go right here. Just kind of bring it connect together like that. Go all the way up and down. Try to get it nice and secure. We want our kids to be safe. Do it on both sides.